Are you tired of getting just junk code from your AI? Well, in this explainer, we're giving you the exact blueprint to finally master Claude Code and start building real, functional software. Okay, let's just dive right into this. If you're getting frustrated with the code that AI spits out, believe me, you are not alone. But what if I told you the problem isn't the model? Today, we're handing you the blueprint to go from generating what some people call AI slop to actually building legit scroll-stopping software. So here's our game plan. We're going to cover 5 key steps. First, the one rule you have to know about input quality. Then, your secret weapon for planning. After that, why you need to get your reps in. Then, how to automate the right way. And finally, we'll wrap up with 5 essential takeaways you can use immediately. All right, first up, the input quality rule. Seriously, this is the absolute foundation for everything else we're going to talk about. If you don't get this, nothing else matters. Look, the models we have today are just freakishly good. We're way past the point of blaming the AI for bad code. The reality is, the quality of what you get out is a direct reflection of the quality of what you put in. It's really that simple. Garbage in, garbage out. And this slide just nails the difference. On the left, you have a wish. Build a TikTok app. That's a recipe for disaster. On the right, you have a plan. The AI needs a detailed to-do list, a feature list, because the sum of all those little features is the final product. So this is the big mental shift you have to make. You need to be precise. You have to be articulate. I mean, you wouldn't walk up to a senior software engineer and say, "Hey, build me a social media app," and then just walk away, right? Of course not. You've got to treat the AI with that same level of respect. Okay, so that all makes sense, but how do you create that perfect, super detailed plan, especially if you're not, a technical expert? Well, Claude Code has a secret weapon for that. This right here, this is the secret weapon. It completely flips the script. Instead of you telling the AI what to do, this tool has the AI interview you. It pulls the plan out of your head together. It's kind of brilliant. And here's basically how that process works. You give it an idea, and it starts asking you really smart questions. Stuff you might totally gloss over, like database choices or UI styles. It gets super granular, and that's what makes it so powerful. And the end result is this beautiful prd.md file, a product requirements document, which is the gold standard blueprint for any software project. And let's be real, this isn't just about getting better code. All this planning up front saves you from those expensive, super frustrating back and forth revision loops later. A better plan means fewer wasted tokens, which means you save actual money. Your wallet will definitely thank you. Okay, so you've got this amazing, detailed plan. You're probably thinking, great, let's hit the big red automate button. Whoa, hold on. That's actually a huge mistake. First, you've got to get your reps in. This might sound a little harsh, but it's true. Before you even think about automating the whole process, you have to learn to walk. And that means building your app feature by feature, manually, side by side with the AI. You have to get a feel for it. It's just like learning to drive a car. You wouldn't just hop in and turn on the self-driving mode without ever touching the steering wheel, right? You need to get a feel for the road, learn how to handle the corners, and build that intuition for how the AI thinks before you hand over the keys. But once you've done that, once you've gotten your reps in, built something, and deployed it, now you're ready. Now it's time to unleash the real power of automation with tools like Ralph. And this is where that amazing detailed plan you made earlier becomes your absolute superpower. It basically acts as a checklist for an autonomous worker that will build, test, and validate every single piece of your software, from the first feature to the last. Now, the absolute genius of this system is the self-correction part. See, it doesn't just write code, it writes a test for the code to see if it actually works. If that test fails, it goes back, reworks the feature, and tries again. It ensures you get a working product, not just a pile of code. But, and this is a huge but, the power of this automation is completely 100% dependent on the quality of your plan. If you feed it a terrible plan, you're just automating the creation of junk. You're basically just setting a pile of money on fire and donating it to Anthropic for no good reason. Okay, let's wrap all this up and put it into a simple toolkit you can start using today. Here are the 5 essential takeaways for success. All right, here's your checklist. Number 1, always start with the Ask User Question tool to create your plan. 2, focus on that plan. Don't get distracted by shiny objects like fancy prompts or custom skills. A great plan is 90% of the battle. 3. Only use automation after you've built something manually. Walk before you run. 4. Manage your context, and we'll hit that next. And finally, number 5, have audacity. Okay, this is a super important technical tip. 50%. That's the magic number. When you're using a big model like Opus, it has a huge memory or context window. But once your conversation fills up more than half of that memory, say 100,000 tokens, the model starts to get forgetful and performance drops off a cliff. So once you hit that 50% mark, just start a fresh session. And that brings us to the last point, audacity. As AI gets better at writing the code, the technical part gets easier. That means your real competitive advantage is your unique taste, your design choices, your focus on the art of the product. It's having the courage to spend time on the little details, the feel, the animations that make people love using your software. So let's bring it all home. The path to mastering these tools isn't some secret magic prompt. It's a clear, repeatable blueprint. First, create a meticulous plan. Second, get your hands dirty and practice by building manually. And third, once you have that experience, apply smart automation. That's how you do it. Look, the tools have never been this powerful, and now you have the blueprint to use them the right way. So the only question left is, what are you going to build? What thoughtful, tasteful, and truly unique creation will you bring to life? Really, the only limit now is your own audacity.